from GMEC US. And let me introduce Cameron Hood from Hollywood.
Hi, I'm Cameron Hood, in from Los Angeles. Speaking here with Roy today about why I'm excited to be here, be in Hong Kong, meet the crew, just talk about the Asian film market and what excites me, and take it away, Roy.
Cameron will going to help us to making 3 movies in coming this year. How do you think about the China market?
Well, the China market is now the premier film market, other than the Western market, obviously. You know, Europe has a rich history of film, but Asia's sort of starting its own new renaissance in film, and I'm really excited to now sort of be in maybe the bottom floor as we start to go up on this journey. A lot of filmmakers from the West are trying to break into this market, get to know who the players are, like yourself, and you know, look at all the new exciting projects that will complement the Asian film market, but also, you know, complement the Western film market too. Sort of the new dynasty of filmmaking here in Asia.
Yeah. Okay. Hey Cam, would you like to introduce yourself more to let us know?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, my name is Cameron Hood. Originally grew up in Toronto, Canada. In 1996, I got my first big opportunity when I was in film school. A gentleman named Chuck Jones from Warner Brothers. But 2 years before he died, he chose me and 10 other film students from around the world to come to Hollywood and for 10 weeks kind of learn at Warner Brothers Studios, you know, the way of filmmaking. And you know, Chuck Jones has won upwards of maybe 15 Academy Awards. You know, he did Bugs Bunny to Roadrunner and Coyote, and just a real legend. And that was my first big break, you know, leaving home and becoming a filmmaker. Soon after I was at Warner Brothers, I actually got a call from Jeffrey Katzenberg and Steven Spielberg to join DreamWorks. And at that point, DreamWorks was just starting out. Jeffrey had just left Disney, David Geffen had joined in, and Steven Spielberg, they started DreamWorks Studios. So I was very fortunate that I packed up my life in Toronto and I permanently moved to Los Angeles. And once I was in Los Angeles, I started to get to know, you know, in the small studio, just all the different departments, the different ways of making films. So for me, it was a very good opportunity because I was so young. I could sort of take everything in, almost like I was still in school for the first few years. And then I worked my way up. I was, you know, an assistant, then became like animator, story artist, and supervisor. Then eventually I became a director. And my first big break was I directed for Jeffrey Katzenberg the first multi-award winning animated short. And that turned into many opportunities for me. I was an in-house director. Ben Stiller actually saw my short, First Flight, and he contacted me in regards to a movie called Megamind. So I brought Megamind in with Ben Stiller. We worked with his production company called Red Hour Films. So what I helped do was re-envision the film. We did a lot of rewrites, and then I started directing that film as an in-house director. We cast Will Ferrell, worked with, you know, Tina Fey, making some interesting casting choices. It was neat for us because it was going to be a new franchise launch for them. And then also on top of that, what I had an opportunity to do, because obviously animation, some movies take upwards of 3.5, sometimes 4 years. So we get to do some campaigns as well. We help out, like I did all the big live action commercials for McDonald's and for Flushed Away. And I also helped shepherd some new scripts coming into the studio. And just really, I was just sort of one of the senior members of the in-house directing team. And then since then, I wrote a screenplay that Universal's really interested in, that they've optioned, and I started helping out on Despicable Me 2. As sort of a creative consultant, doing some story work, storyboarding. And then I actually went back to Warner Brothers for a small stint on the side to do 2 shorts. I did Pepe Le Pew, you know the skunk Pepe Le Pew? And then I did another one with Speedy Gonzales. And that turned into an opportunity this year where Jay Stern at Route 1 Films, who did many films you might know, like Basketball Diaries, and he also did the Rush Hour series. So he's a big fan of Jackie Chan and the Hong Kong film market.
The Kung Fu movies.
Yeah, Kung Fu movies. And so he was very supportive of me hooking up with you, Roy, and Charlie Wong, coming out here. And during this time, I'm also writing and directing a film for him, currently in pre-production right now. We're about to start production. It's called Born to be Wild. It's going to be a big animated film, kind of like a new DreamWorks on the block, Route 1. So it's exciting for me, you know, it's an exciting time.
That was our great honor to invite Cameron to join us for shooting our new movies.
Oh, I'm really honored. I'm really excited too, because it presents a new opportunity, but also new challenges. And there's an exciting history of filmmaking in Hong Kong. I'm a fan of many of the old films from Hong Kong. Certainly, I'm a fan of early Bruce Lee movies, but also in Toronto when I was a kid, every Sunday we had something called Kung Fu Theater.
Yeah.
And as a young boy, I would watch movies coming out of Hong Kong every Sunday afternoon. And me and my friends, we would watch these great movies coming out of Hong Kong.
I know many Western people like the Kung Fu movies in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I think it's quite popular.
Jackie Chan.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, it's the theatrics of the moves and the comedy and what they do with the moves. It's before computers. It's before any of these things. Just the talent of the Hong Kong film industry it's second to none. It's still very avant-garde in a way.
Okay. Hi Ken, you are going to involve in our coming 3 movies. What do you think you can contribute to our company and for our movies?
Well, obviously I would bring my Western sensibilities of filmmaking, storytelling, character development, and comedy, and heart as well. Heart's a really important thing in movies. You want to ground every movie with great relationships and great journeys for characters. And we were just exploring the first few scenes, and we're doing the digital animatic process, which is a process that I'm familiar with just from my digital background and working with some great teams who do animatics. And that's taking the script one step further than storyboard. That's the digital placement of cameras, planning out sequences, working on timing. I think hopefully I can bring a dynamic timing sensibility to things. My training in animation, I think, will lend itself well to that. But also I think it'll help us, for budgetary reasons, I think we can also be much more efficient, because we will have a plan digitally before we ever step on set. So I think that's one of the key ingredients with this team.
After Ken direct and his vision, our movie can distribute all over the world.
Yeah, I think so. I think a good story hopefully will find an audience no matter where that story is made or how it's told. I think if it's told well and it's told in an appealing manner, that should hopefully cross cultural boundaries, and it should hopefully just open itself up to be a 4-quadrant experience, if that's the case. If we're going to do something with much more of a smaller audience, then we will cater to what that audience is looking for, and we'll push that. If we want to do a movie that's, again, 4-quadrant and more of an open market, then we will bring those sensibilities to make sure that movie delivers on all those levels.
Okay. So we look forward to have our cooperation with Ken.